Hey everybody, it's GauntletX and welcome back to some more Magic Arena. Today we'll be playing another premiere draft of Streets of New Capenna, so without further ado, let's just get into it. We've got a pretty good rare here, Zayator's Envoy. The only problem is that it ties us into 3 colors, but the way that this format tends to go is you can main 2 colors and then kind of splash in the third. So we could be green, red, or red, black and splash this in as our third color, so it doesn't leave us actually that closed off in what we can do. So I actually think that Zayator's Envoy is definitely powerful enough to take the gold card, pick one, pack one. We do have some really good commons in this pack though, so if you're a little risk averse and you want to take something that'll more likely make the cut, we have Jewel Thief being an excellent green common, Strangle being very cheap, efficient removal in red, Corrupt Court Official being a nice card to sacrifice to casualty stuff in black, and Expendable Lackey pretty similar in blue, even good removal in white with Hold for Ransom and the decent little Sky Crier here. Really good pack overall in terms of the commons, but gonna take the Zayator's Envoy, see where it leads us. We get past a Disciplined Duelist here, which is incredibly tempting. However, we're also past Inspiring Overseer, the best white common in the format, the best common in the format, period. Obviously none of these are going to go with our Zayator's Envoy, which is the risk in taking a gold card, pack one, pick one. But there's really nothing in this pack that we're going to end up playing, even if we are playing Envoy, like maybe a Jetmir's Fixer, but that's pretty filler level. These non-creature cards are really bad, and I'm not a fan of Midnight Assassin either, so honestly, anything we take in here isn't going to go in the same deck as Zayator's Envoy anyway, so we should probably just take one of the strongest cards. Inspiring Overseer keeps us completely open, but Disciplined Duelist is a little bit stronger. This card is a whole win condition. 2/1 double strike for 3 with a shield counter. I think I'm going to go kind of the opposite of how I went with Envoy here and take Inspiring Overseer this time. This way I can be a little more open in what kind of decks I can run that Overseer in. If I start with Disciplined Duelist and Zayator's Envoy, I have 2 very, very narrow paths that I can go down to try to run one of those 2 cards. But with Inspiring Overseer, we could end up like red-green with some treasure tokens and maybe splash white and black, something like that. It's not likely, but it is more likely than being able to easily go into Brokers for Disciplined Duelist or easily hop into Riveteers for Envoy. And here in pack 3, or pick 3, one of the strongest cards in the pack is Rafine's Informant, probably the second best white common, so we can just continue down that path. Windshield Agent is a pretty good uncommon here, a 3 mana 2/3 with a shield counter that sends a creature into the sky every time it attacks, gives a creature flying there. But other than that, not too much going on in this pack. Not too unhappy to just scoop up a Rafine's Informant. And now, looks like a whole lot of nothing. I guess there's Corrupt Court Official, which is probably one of the better cards in this pack. It would fit well into a deck with Zayator's Envoy. That being said, the colors that we want to pair with white is we're going to want to be white-blue or white-green, because those are the allied colors to white, and there's nothing for that here. I mean, Grizzly Sigil, I guess, is okay in Zayator's Envoy's colors as well. I might just take Cabaret Courtyard. The nice thing about Cabaret Courtyard is this is going to be mana fixing in a red-green deck, being able to pull out a mountain or forest, or in a green-white deck, being able to pull out a plains or forest. So it could help with either half of the cards that we're taking here in terms of mana fixing. So now we're in pick 5. Not a ton of great stuff here. Dapper Shieldmate's pretty whatever. Mayhem Patrol's one of the stronger cards in here, but again, we are not at a very good start to just start hopping into the red cards. I guess that would work with our Zayator's Envoy here. Yeah, bit of a weird pick. I'll just go with the Mayhem Patrol here, I think. So now we've got Riveteer's Charm to go with Zayator's Envoy. Not a lot going on in white or green. There's just no white or green cards. There is a Hypnotic Grifter, though, in blue, which is actually pretty solid. It's a very good mana sink as the game progresses. Maybe we could end up a white-blue again using our Inspiring Overseer and Rafine's Informant. That being said, we currently have 2 white cards and then 2 Riveteer's cards. So we're kind of equally dipping our toe in each direction, and Riveteers does look more open. We see Body Dropper, Mayhem Patrol, and Riveteers Charm, versus for like Broker's colors, white, blue, green, or anything, we just see Hypnotic Grifter. So I'm actually going to take Riveteers Charm. I think at this point I'm going to try to commit to Riveteers, and it looks like that should work out pretty well for us. We see a tramway station here. We see a Masked Bandit, so two different decent ways to mana fix us. I'm going to go for the land, though. Definitely a big fan of that. The next best card in this pack is probably Metamorphosis or Broker's Hideout, but Tramway Station definitely the best for us trying to go into Riveteers. Wow, Nightclubber nice and late. Nightclubber pick 8, pretty big fan of that. A lot of pretty powerful 1 toughness creatures in the format. You have cards like Fiend's Informant that if they didn't connive a non-land card, it will come out as a 2/1. You have Inspiring Overseer that always comes out as a 2/1. Just a lot of stuff you can kill with the Nightclubbers Enter the Battlefield effect to get a crisp, clean 2-for-1, maybe even a 3-for-1. Now we wheel the Corrupt Court Official, which is pretty nice. This is the pack we opened up as well, and the cards that we were thinking of in this pack that were like our best commons were like Jewel Thief, Strangle, Hold for Ransom. So like green and white cards are vanishing for sure. Red cards disappeared too, but black looks wide open, so that's a pretty good sign. Maybe a black-focused Riveteers deck here. That would end up being black-red splash to the green. Now we see a Broker's Hideout here. Not much else. Not that we're going to use Broker's Hideout, but I don't think I'm going to use Midnight Assassin or Widespread Thieving. Although I could rare draft the Thieving. This is probably wrong to do, because now if somehow I get pushed back into Brokers some way or another, I'm not going to have that extra piece of mana fixing. That was basically a free pick, but it feels unlikely to me that that is going to happen in this draft pod. As you can see, the white, green, and blue is all gone now. Assassin or Dig Up the Body, they're both pretty filler. Sure, I'll go Dig Up the Body. Haven't been a huge Assassin fan. And yeah, we're definitely black, red, splash, green. I'm going to take the Glamorous Outlaw there. Because this can splash itself. If we're black, red, splash, green, this can just splash itself in, even if it's our only blue card. So we can leave it in the deck for now and just cut it if we get a nice quantity of playables. So we have Involuntary Employment here, which is a little interesting in black-red. If we get casualty cards, which we have one of, we have a Dig Up the Body. Or if we get like Body Droppers that let us sacrifice permanents, then this card will be fine. Hasn't been as good as other active treason effects in recent formats, effects that'll temporarily steal an opposing creature, but it's probably the best pick for us because green is our splash here, so Elegant Entourage will be a little bit hard for us to cast. This is definitely at face value more powerful than Employment though, especially because we only have one casualty card right now. I don't know, I might actually be convinced to go for the Elegant Entourage over that. Yeah, I'll go for the Elegant Entourage here. Fleetfoot Dancer. Well, let's look for a lot of ways to make treasure tokens, shall we? And we could wheel that Widespread Thieving and try to just do a weird kind of fun archetype here that you rarely get to do. Maybe we just get to cast enough multicolored spells to get a bunch of treasure tokens off of this. Maybe we'll have enough different colors of lands that we can do the hideaway as well. I don't know. Take a Fleetfoot Dancer here and take treasure tokens very, very highly. Seems like a fine decision to me, because this is a very, very powerful card if we can get it splashed in thanks to some treasure. If we can't, though, Body Dropper is the most consistent, easiest pick here that can definitely easily be cast and make the cut, but I'm going to go for this Fleetfoot Dancer. See if we can do something spicy with a lot of treasure. Pack 2, pick 3, we've got a Dusk Mangler, which is a big win condition, big late game, massive threat here. There's Light 'em Up here, which is an okay cheap removal spell, Crooked Custodian if we just want to get really aggressive. And there is Glittermonger, which generally I don't like. I rarely play this card, but this might be the deck for it with the amount of multicolored stuff I'm considering doing. That being said, we're not married to that plan. If Fleetfoot Dancer leaves, then we're basically just black-red with a little bit of green. Yeah, I'm not married enough to the plan to take a Glittermonger this early. I think I'll take a Dusk Mangler. It's a pretty nice late-game win condition in any black deck. Big old threat forces your opponent to lose some cards. They sack a card, discard a card, lose some life. So there's Ominous Parcel, which can help splashes. There's another Corrupt Court Official to just have a bunch of those. Another Tramway Station to have a bunch of those. Disciplined Duelist pick 4 is kind of absurd after what we saw last pack. But I suppose the person directly to our right is probably in Brokers. Probably a lot of the drafters on our right are in the Brokers colors, and people on our left just got shoved out of it. Maybe they're in Maestros, Cabaretti, Obscura, that kind of stuff. But yeah, Duelist is a super, super high pick for anybody in Brokers, so it's kind of wild. I'm just going to go for Corrupt Court Official here. Solid fan of that card. Big score's probably okay here. Get a couple treasure tokens. It's a little expensive, but again, you're getting a couple treasure tokens there. And that would be if we want to go for the Fleetfoot Dancer 4-color build. Could also just take Racer's Ring and have a land that's helping us splash in our green cards, which is also pretty good. I'll go for Racer's Ring. Big score is more likely to wheel generally, but 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, it's not going to wheel. There'll be one card left in this pack. It's probably going to be, I don't know, Rafine's Guidance or Demon's Due. But yeah, I'll take Racer's Ring there. Play it a little safe here. And now we get to take a nice late body dropper. Pick 6. The rare here doesn't really work in limited. You destroy all artifacts, then deal damage to each creature equal to the number of artifacts put into graveyards from the battlefield this turn. So if you're a massively heavy treasure deck, then I guess this is a Wrath effect, but it's way too inconsistent. Because even if you are a heavy treasure deck, there'll just be times you don't have treasures at the time you draw that card and you really need them. Wow. Oh my god, we are the we are the Corrupt Court Official annoying deck here. It's going to be a 3rd Court Official. I'll take that over a Deal Gone Bad here. Although we are low on removal. We only have a Riveteer's Charm and Night Clubber. Those are both kind of situational removal spells. And again, black is looking wide open. We could probably get more removal later. Take all these Corrupt Court Officials in the world. Exhibition Magician's kind of nice, creating that treasure token. But I really do feel like I'm seeing way more than enough black cards to just stick to black-red. Might be interested in Grizzly Sigil over a 4th copy of Corrupt Court Official. I think I would be, because this is a good way to use those Corrupt Court Officials to casualty them away for some good value. Pick 9. This would be the pack we opened. Someone took Widespread Thieving? Someone took our 2nd copy of Widespread Thieving. Alright, so much for the Fleetfoot Dancer splash deck, probably. Probably just pushing into just red-black, take this Tramway Station. Also, somebody took Involuntary Employment. That's unfortunate as well. People are probably a little too high on that card. I feel like that would be, if we're one of only like 2 red-black drafters here, I think we probably should have been able to wheel that, but unfortunate. Take Plasma Jockey there. I probably should have actually taken another Racer's Ring. But I'm considering our green splash could just knock down to just Envoy, and we already have 2 red-green duels now. We have a Racer's Ring and Cabaretti Courtyard. Tramway Station or Courier's Briefcase. Like the Briefcase, get a treasure token in a 1/1, but I'm going to go for another Tramway Station. I'm just going to be all Tramway Stations all day. Perfect red-black mana fixing. Good gravy. Now we have Riveteer's Overlook, which is perfect fixing. Let's go ahead and look at our curve now, because we're not seeing anything good in this pack. It's just like decent stuff. I don't really want to splash in a prize fight. But yeah, if we really need some more cheap plays or like a, I don't know, something like that, we could take something else here, but I think I'm taking Riveteer's Overlook. But yeah, we're kind of finishing the deck off here, so we need to see what kind of holes in the deck we're trying to fill. Move all our non-creature cards into one pile. We have 5 2-mana cards already. Looks like we definitely want some more 3s, a tiny bit more 2s, and a little more like late game punch probably. Although Outlaw does fill that role if we need it to. Now we've got Murder. That is very much a role we need filled. We are low on removal. We have Grizzly Sigil, Light 'em Up, and Riveteer's Charm. I guess that is 3 removal spells, but they're situational. This can only do 4 damage max. This can only do 4 damage max. And this only is going to kill the highest mana value card from your opponent. So if they have a lower mana value card, that's more important. You can't kill that, so Murder just being unconditional, killing exactly what we want at instant speed. Definitely something we are looking for in this deck. Now we have not a ton. Fake Your Own Death is actually okay in a deck that has triple Corrupt Court Official, because we can really give our opponent a hard time with these Corrupt Court Officials if they attack into them with their 2/2 or 3/2 or something, or even their 3/3 because it's +2/+0. All of a sudden we make it so our Corrupt Court Official trades up into whatever they attacked with, and then it's going to come back to the battlefield and make them discard another card. I actually like Fake Your Own Death here over Plasma Jockey, maybe. Potentially this wheels more often than Plasma Jockey, but Plasma Jockey seems a little filler to me. Ooh, Raffine's Silencer is a pretty great card, especially with that Fake Your Own Death we just took. It's another card that we can get that Enter the Battlefield effect and that Death trigger twice on with that card, so Raffine's Silencer seems pretty great. Other than that, there's a Masked Bandits if we really need that fixing. Pretty sure I'm doing well there, though. 3 green sources, I guess 4, because we're going to have these 3 and a forest. Perfect for just a 1 Zyator's Envoy. Yeah, Raffine's Silencer it is. Don't see anything massive in any other color. Ooh, there's our first Girder Goons, but there's also a Fatal Grudge, which is really good, especially with Corrupt Court Officials. Just little expendable creatures you don't care too much about. You sacrifice a permanent, and then your opponent sacrifices a permanent, and you draw a card. The permanent they sacrifice has to share a type, so you sacrifice your 1/1 Corrupt Court Official, get them to sacrifice maybe a 2/2, maybe a 3/3, and draw a card in the process. Pretty good deal. Would love to wheel Girder Goons or Mayhem Patrol, but that's incredibly unlikely. Maybe we'll wheel Riveteer's Overlook, but that also seems pretty unlikely. Now we have another Murder or a Whack. I'm probably going to take another Murder here, but I can see the argument for Whack. This card's going to be better if we're playing against a Broker's deck. It's going to be 1 mana for -4/-4 against any of their white creatures, and specifically it can kill anything that has a shield counter on it, which Murder can't do. Feel like Murder's better against a wider variety of decks. The problem is in this format, not quite half the decks, but the largest percentage of decks in comparison to any other family are going to be Brokers because of how deep that color trio is. So maybe it's actually supposed to be Whack there, but I'm not quite certain on that. So I'm just going to stick to Murder, the nice, safe, tried and true card there. I'm going to take a Mayhem Patrol here, keep aggressive, but Exhibition Magician would be fine. Even Maestro's Theater, Red-Black Fixing, or Quick Draw Dagger for a trick, but I've got a lot of non-creature stuff here to make room for that dagger. Now we'll definitely take our first Girder Goons. That gives us a nice late game play. Good Blitz card. We have 6 2-drops now. Not a lot at 4 or 5, so we'll slap that Girder Goons in there. Very good deal. Now we get this Maestro's Theater for red-black fixing. There's also a little trick or a little Death Toucher. Not a super exciting card either way there. Take a Chrome Cat. I would like to not have to play this, but our creature count might be low enough that we need to. We have 15 creatures, and we want to cut this Entourage and Glamorous Outlaw. A little bit of card draw, I guess, if we want that. Gives us the option. Probably doesn't make the cut. Very much not a fan of Incriminate, because your opponent always gets to sacrifice their second best creature, which is often just very bad because you really need target removal. Okay, pick 13 Girder Goons. Come on in the deck. That makes me feel pretty happy about being in black, but we kind of saw that black was mega open pretty early on. Red was not as open as black, but we have just a really solid black core to the deck here, and that should help it out a lot. And Arena's very confused. Arena doesn't know what to do with its life here. Double island, triple forest? Okay, Arena. You're drunk, go home. We don't need any islands to run a Glamorous Outlaw because it'll mana fix itself, but Arena's not going to realize that until we cut Glamorous Outlaw. And for green sources, we don't need 4 forests for 3 green cards. We have Racer's Ring, Cabaret Courtyard, and Riveteer's Overlook, all of which can pull out a forest. I'm going to just play 1 forest. Oops. Well, whatever. Let me just cut all the lands here, and then we'll figure that out later. Because Arena's making it all... It's making it all a hassle, more than it needs to be for sure. So, we need 23 non-land cards. We might have to run this Chrome Cat. Wow. Put Outlaw in there. That is an option. So we have 2 cards we can cut out of here. Let's see what we want to do. Check out our counts. Looks like a pretty high non-creature count. 16 creatures, 9 non-creatures. Got like 1 creature, still have 15 in here, which is fine. So I could cut the Entourage to lower the green splash if I want. Could cut this Chrome Cat, leave the Entourage in. Could cut Outlaw because it could be a bit slow if we draw it on turn 6 or 7. Or if we draw it when we have 6 or 7 lands out, we can't just immediately cast it. We need to draw it before we have enough mana to cast it so we can find the time to exile it and give it that mana fixing effect. Or we need to draw it when we have 8 lands so we can just play the mana fixing and the card itself in the same turn. So there are a couple turns there, or a few turns there, where it's going to be a pretty bad draw. Basically have to suspend it for a turn to get it resolved. Don't love dig up the body in here. Like, it's okay to be able to bring back a Zeator's Envoy. I guess, yeah, sacrifice a Corrupt Court Official to double this seems pretty good. Yeah, Casualty 1 does seem actually pretty easy for our deck. Not certain we need the Demon's Due. We have some incidental card draw with our Blitz cards. Our Zeator's Envoy can draw us cards. Our Fatal Grudge draws us a card. Riveteer's Charm can draw us 3 cards, but we can only play them for 1 turn. Yeah, I don't know about Demons. I'll just keep Dig Up the Body as kind of our late game quote-unquote card draw. Light 'em Up is Casualty 2, so it's basically just 2 mana to do 2 to a creature Planeswalker. It's kind of just a worse Grizzly Sigil. Right, because it's gonna be 2 mana for 2 damage to 1 target, which I guess can kill some important cards sometimes. But casualtying this is gonna be a lot more difficult. So it's a lot worse if we're actually trying to casualty it, because casualtying a Grizzly Sigil can shoot 2 targets for 1 damage or 1 target for 4 damage, and we gain life equal to damage dealt. Whereas with the Light 'em Up, casualtying that is 2 damage to 2 targets or 4 damage to 1 target. There's no life gain involved. It's 1 more mana. We have to sacrifice a bigger card. Yeah, I feel like I prefer Sigil over Light 'em Up. So I kind of want to cut... Maybe just Light 'em Up Demon's Due, keep all these creatures in here. Yeah, because we'll still have Sigil, Fatal Grudge, Murder, and Riveteer's Charm as potential removal. We'll still have Dig Up the Body as card draw and Riveteer's Charm as potential card draw. Yeah, we'll cut those. And that's not counting all the cantrips from Blitz cards drawing in the end step. Especially the Girder Goons, those are ones we'll almost always Blitz. Alright, Riveteers it is today. Let's get that mana in here. You know what's hilarious here? If I play a single mountain in this deck, I already have 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 ways to get red mana. So this is a single mountain deck. Our mana base is going to be nuts. Absolutely nuts here. So that's 10 red sources. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Green sources, we just put 1 forest in because that's our splash color. And then black sources, we currently have 5, 6, 7 ways to get black already, but black is our most prevalent color, so we change that 7 to 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 ways to get a black source. Our mana is so good. Oh my god. 12 black sources for our 18 black cards, 9 red sources for our 8 red cards, 4 green sources for our 3 green cards. Right? 1, 2, 3, 4. Maybe I put in another forest. So we have 5 green sources, 9 red sources, and 12 black sources. That's such an insane mana base. If you were a 2-color deck and you had 12 sources of your primary color, 12 black sources, and then 9 sources of your secondary color, 9 red sources, that's nuts. That's already good for a 2-color deck. And we have that many sources of our primary 2 colors in a 3-color deck because we have 6 dual lands and 3 fetch lands. The fetch lands we shouldn't be counting fully, as this is a red, green, and black source, because there are times where we're going to have to play this on turn 1 and immediately fetch out, you know, our red card. We'll just immediately have to fetch out our mountain so we can turn to our Mayhem Patrol or something. And then that's going to make it so, now our deck only has 4 green sources. So that's why I like upping our lowest count color here, because we are relying on a couple fetch lands for that green source. So, but yeah, still the numbers are really good on the quantity of each of our colors here. And yeah, I'm just going to call that a deck here. Here we are now with the final deck. This is going to be a Riveteers deck. We're focused on black-red as our main color pair with a green splash. Managed to pick up some incredible mana fixing in the draft. We have 6 dual lands and 3 fetch lands, so our mana is pretty excellent here. Black was wide open in our draft pod, so the core of our deck is going to be a lot of these black creatures with really good enter the battlefield or death triggers. Every single black creature in this deck does something when it enters the battlefield, or does something when it dies. Corrupt Court Officials making our opponent discard cards, or Fiend Silencer conniving when it enters and giving -X when it dies. Nightclubber giving -1/-1 when it enters. Girder Goons giving 2/2s when they die. Dusk Mangler having the big, making your opponent sack a creature, discard a card, and lose 4 life when it dies. So I think that Fake Your Own Death is going to be a really, really nice card in this deck. A really nice trick with all those enter the battlefield and death triggers. Actually, probably should have valued this card a little more highly a little earlier on in the draft pod. We did have an opportunity to pick up 1 or 2 more copies of these. Don't remember exactly what it was over, but definitely could have been a really good Fake Your Own Death deck here, but still looks like a lot of really nice value cards here that are giving us impact just by hitting the board in the first place. When you look at our other colors, we have some of our aggressive cards in red to try to actually close out the game and start pressuring our opponent's life total. Body Dropper here getting bigger as we sacrifice cards to Casualty and Blitz. Mayhem Patrol being nice and evasive, adding extra damage to the board, extra power to the board, and Plasma Jockey letting our cards get in. When you look at our green cards, those are kind of our just powerful splashes. We have Riveteer's Charm being a flexible card that can be removal or card draw. Doubt we're ever exiling a graveyard with this, but those first 2 abilities are quite good. Zaitor's Envoy is an absolute house. This is a huge card draw engine as well as being a massive threat on its own, a 5/4 trample for 4. So this is going to be phenomenal as well. And then Elegant Entourage is just a really good stat line for the cost. 4 mana, 4/4, and every time another creature enters the battlefield under your control, you're giving one of your creatures +1/+1 and trample till end of turn, so that can be a lot of damage for a pretty cheap price as well. Other than that, just some solid removal to fill out the deck. Double Murder, Fatal Grudge, Grizzly Sigil, and 1 Dig Up the Body for sorta like card draw late game. Looks like a pretty nice, pretty versatile Riveteers deck here. So without further ado, let's head into the gameplay. Here we are, game 1 on the play with perfect mana. It is slow mana, but really nice in terms of the colors that we've got available. And there we go. No longer slow mana. We can just drop a Body Dropper turn 2, and we're off to the races. Opponent starts with a Plains into a Forest here. They are white-green with a turn 2 Civil Servant. Big old problem. Big old problem there. We can't attack into that with Body Dropper. I could threaten to, but they would block and get me really hard if they don't take that bluff. Or if they do take that bluff. So I'm just going to drop Court Official and pass. We are going to play Racer's Ring, though, as land for turn, in case we draw our Riveteer's Charm or something we'd want to play next turn for green. Looks like Corrupt Court Official might actually hit them a little hard here, at least. Definitely in the think tank for what they want to discard, and they're going to discard an Illuminator Virtuoso. Gathering Throng is here. So Grizzly Sigil actually looking pretty good here, although Corrupt Court Official just staying on the board is fine. That is really unfortunate. Gathering Throng, of course, the kind of card. Incredibly good if you can get a draft pod where people just aren't drafting them. If you can get 3 or more copies, it's absurd, and they have at least 4. I say at least because you don't have to pick up all of the Gathering Throngs at once. So when you have a hand like this, you want to pick up just enough to where you don't have to discard a card. So they could have more in the deck. They just didn't want to grab them right now because they didn't want to discard a card. I kind of like Chrome Cat here because it's going to trade into Civil Servant even if they buff that. I actually do like drawing in a Fake Your Own Death. Actually, maybe should have held up Corrupt Court Official as a blocker so we don't get attacked by Gathering Throng here. Yeah, I definitely should have done that. We hold up Chrome Cat to throw on the Civil Servant and Corrupt Court Official to throw on the Gathering Throng. And the benefit there isn't that I would actually want to block the Throng with the Corrupt Court Official, it's that it would get them to not attack with it. Because I don't think they would want to trade that way. But I would, because I have a Grizzly... but I wouldn't either, because I have a Grizzly Sigil. To kill two things here. And I think that's what I do. Do I Fake Your Own Death first? Fake Your Own Death might be better on Rafine's Silencer. I could cast Rafine's Silencer and Sigil this turn. Should probably Rafine's Silencer first so I can see if I'm drawing into anything that would impact the line. Another Corrupt Court Official. Well, that would make it really easy to choose to Sigil here, although I don't really want to discard Girder Goons. And actually another Court Official... It would be fine, even though they have so many cards in hand. A lot of those are Throngs. Getting them to discard a Throng is kind of like our Corrupt Court Official killed two Throngs because they discard one and we block another. I actually think I'm getting rid of Girder Goons, weirdly enough. Cast this with Casualty 1. Target the Overseer, sack the Official. Target the Throng. Now we can attack into the Civil Servant. They attack into it, I can block with Silencer and trade that into it. Because now I have Corrupt Court Official Fake Your Own Death to use instead of Silencer Fake Your Own Death. Wow, 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 wow. A second Civil Servant. Makes that a lot worse. Now I would like to Fake Your Own Death with Silencer, because Silencer can block a Civil Servant, fake its own death, and kill the second Civil Servant. Things are not lining up super hot here. Fatal Grudge shuts off there. Scuttling Butler guaranteed. So I think I attack with these two. Then I'm going to Fatal Grudge. And I guess they could... They could sacrifice a Civil Servant here, but that would still mean that they only have one multicolored permanent, so Scuttling Butler doesn't have double strike still. Alright, we're killing the Civil Servant, drawing a land. Kind of want to keep that for Silencer's Connive. This game kind of showing off the power of Gathering Throng. If they never cast a Gathering Throng this game, if they cast just like a 3-mana 3/3 or something instead of this, their hand would now be 2 cards. But because of Throng, they have 3 more 3/1s to throw at us that we still have to get through. Fake Your Own Death or Silencer here. It'll be -4 to Civil Servant because we gave it 2 extra power. Get our token, draw, discard this land. And now we still have a Silencer on board that trades into 2 of their Gathering Throngs, if they put 2 out here. Civic Gardener. Okay. So we're going to try to avoid getting got by Silencer. Then we can kind of hold Body Dropper up as a blocker. I mean, it is a 4/4 in there at 12. Start setting it in here. I think I want to be Riveteer's Charming to draw some cards. Do I have the mana to cast that after this? Yes, I do. I can play Corrupt Court Official, then play Force and Riveteer's Charm in their end step. And then we can cast those cards with all our mana that's up. Yeah, Court Official is good on the board. Trades into Throng. so I don't have to trade into Throng with the Rafine Silencer. And we got a Gathering Throng discarded too, so it's going to trade into 2 Gathering Throngs, really making our way back out of the pit the Gathering Throng sent us in. Brass Knuckles is actually horrible here. It's actually super bad for us. Double Strike, because, yeah, they just equip one with 2 of them, give it Double Strike, and be way harder to block now. We're at 11 though, so we could just kind of take it. Take 4, we can send in the Body Dropper, hit them for 4. I guess I could actually block with Body Dropper and sacrifice Corrupt Court Official to still win the combat. Basically trade Corrupt Court Official up into the Civic Gardener. It's probably better than actually Riveteer's Charming. Yeah, so they're just going to pass turn because they know we can do that. Alright, I'm going to Riveteer's Charm now. Draw 3. Land, land, land. Well, draw 0. Although it helps cast Duskmangler, so I guess that was actually a good draw. 3, 4, 5, 6. Wow, that is so good here. That's actually nuts. I could sack this. If I sack the Silencer and try to give Throng -1/-1, is that going to kill that before this resolves and make them sack Gardener? I'm going to do it for science. I feel like maybe I should pay a life here, but I think this resolves before Duskmangler resolves. Yeah, it does. So now they have to sack the Gardener. So they have no blockers out. And they lose 4. And then I hit them for 6 while they have no blockers. And now they're down to 2. Wow. Alright, well, Riveteer's Charm may have just hit 3 lands, but it got us 3 cards deeper into our deck, which meant the 4th draw was Duskmangler, so even though the cards the Charm hit itself weren't incredible, it dug us into the very good draw, so it was still great piece of card draw there. Riveteer's Charm finding us the win condition there and really closing that game out. That was some excellent stuff from our Corrupt Court Official, Fake Your Own Death, Rafine Silencer, all those kind of cards I was talking about with a really good enter the battlefield and death triggers, so we could just claw our way out doing a bunch of 2-for-1s to get back into the game after our opponent's 4-for-1 at the start. Great stuff. Alright, we're on the play here. Excellent looking mana to me. Yeah, we'll keep this. Pull some lands out of the deck. Hope that Nightclubber gets to kill some stuff for free here. If they go like turn 2 Rafine's Informants and discard a land, that'll be a 2/1 on their board. And then turn 3 Inspiring Overseer. That would be pretty nice. Alright. Grizzly Sigil. We'll just pull out another land from the deck now. A lot of double black cards here. We don't have any double red cards in the deck, so we'll just grab another black source. Although if we grabbed the red source, I could play an untapped black source and then still have red up. I'm not going to Nightclubber an empty board, I think, so we'll just play Tramway Station Pass. Fairy Vandal. Card is really threatening. It synergizes with a lot of stuff in this format, especially the best common in the format, Inspiring Overseer. We're going to get curved out pretty hard here. We do have the Murder to deal with the Fairy Vandal, and we have a Nightclubber to deal with the Overseer. I'm not so sure a 2/2 body on the ground is going to impact this game too much, so I'm not convinced that I'm supposed to cast this. I think I'm supposed to blitz it. I'm also not certain I do it right now. Maybe the plan is to murder Fairy Vandal right now and see if they have a second Inspiring Overseer in hand. Since we're going to murder the Fairy Vandal either way, this way we're going to stop just as much damage. We're going to stop 2 damage, killing one of their 2 power creatures. And maybe now Nightclubber will kill 2 things instead of 1, depending on what's in their hand. Okay, they're not going to just slam down Overseer pre-combat. So we'll shoot the Fairy Vandal. Maybe they'll do it post-combat now that they see, oh, they were just holding up Murder. But maybe not. Rafine's Informant, if they discard a land to that, then that's some more fuel for the Nightclubber Fire. If they don't discard a land, then it would be tempting to just keep Nightclubber on board as a 2/2 blocker to block their 3/2. Alright, yeah, they're going to make it a 3/2. We may be interested in keeping Nightclubber on boards instead then. There's also Rafine Silencer, though. Rafine Silencer's pretty spicy, because it's going to stop them from, definitely stop them from attacking with Informant. I guess if we discard a non-land, if I discard a land, I could still block Informant, kill Overseer, or just block and kill Informant. I think I want a Rafines and Silencers here. I'm still trying to get pretty greedy with Nightclubber. We're at 18 life. We can hold off a little while. Yeah, I'm gonna discard this land. Celestial Regulator. Looking very unlikely our opponent's ever going to play another 1 toughness creature, unfortunately. But Nightclubber still helps lower their other creature's toughness to where a Grisly Sigil is going to be able to wipe the board now. Because I can Nightclubber, give everything -1/-1, that's going to kill Overseer, make Informant a 1 toughness card, and then I can Grisly Sigil, sacrificing the Silencer, give Informant another -1/-1, and use the Sigil to kill the Regulator. So I think that's what I want to do. I want to blitz a Nightclubber first and send it into combat and see if maybe they chump. That's unlikely, but that's what I want to do. Because this 2/2 isn't going to matter. A 2/2 on the ground after all this. Maybe they have a Make Disappear here. But I have the 2 mana ups. They didn't want to sack something and cast it. I think if they had Make Disappear, they'd sack Informant to keep the flyer. So I guess the question is if it's better to Grisly Sigil sacking the Clubber or the Silencer. If I sack the Silencer, I clear their whole board. But if I sack the Clubber, I still have a Silencer on board. I think I would rather clear their whole board than keep a 1/1 Silencer on the ground here. Oh, that's the wrong way. That's not what we wanted to do. We're gonna shoot Regulator twice. Okay, now we draw a card. Things are pretty even, 4 cards in hand to 4 cards in hand. They do get the first draw here, though. Empty board, 4 cards in hand to 4 cards in hand. Pretty even life totals as well. It's another Celestial Regulator. Not enjoyable. Don't like a Mayhem Patrol sticking around that much. I think I'm gonna Mayhem Patrol and sack it to this Dig Up the Body to pick up Nightclubber's Silencer for the future. I could just cast an Elegant Entourage as well instead of going for the Mayhem Patrol Blitz here. I could also sack the Mayhem Patrol to Fatal Grudge to kill the Regulator. That might be more exciting. Yeah, because I have like plays for the next couple turns. I don't need to dig up the body so soon here. Because even if I don't dig up the body, I can play an Elegant Entourage next turn. Whenever I get my 7th land, I can go Dusk Mangler. So we'll Fatal Grudge instead. Get a Fake Your Own Death. And a body dropper. A little bit awkward draws. We are looking for the Dusk Mangler mana, but still more playable stuff here. There's the 6th mana from our opponent. They're only 1 land drop away from dropping their 4/4 flyer. Which is going to be pretty threatening to us. We don't have any more removal in hand. Dropped 1 murder already. We've got a murder still in the deck. Murder and a Riveteer's Charm in the deck as answers to that big flyer. Fake Your Own Death could do it too if they ever block with it. I like dropping Body Dropper and holding up a Dig Up the Body, I think. Could just hard cast an Elegant Entourage instead, though. No, I like the Body Dropper here. Like having some counterplay up. If they're going to try to use any removal. Beautiful. Now we dig up some bodies. That worked out quite well for us. And we milled our bomb. Okay. Give me that card. Give me that card right now. I don't know if they're going to play a lot of more 1 toughness creatures. If they have an Angelic Overseer, they probably drafted everyone in their pot. I think I'm going to go Nightclubber over Silencer. But I don't know if that's right. And I have 6 mana here, so I can cast Envoy and hold up the Fake Your Own Death to keep it on board. If I draw an untapped land, okay, I was going to say if I draw an untapped land, I could even blitz out Zayator's Envoy and then save it from its own blitz with Fake Your Own Death, which is hilarious, but did not draw that extra untapped land, so we'll just play it and hold up the Fake Your Own Death to save it if our opponent has another removal spell. So the way this works is when we hit our opponent, we get to cast a spell off the top of our library for free, which is insane. As long as it costs 5 or less mana, basically. So they may be planning to just cast the Seraph and block here, and then Fake Your Own Death is huge. Because we're going to trample over for several damage and be able to maybe cast something for free, and we're going to beat the Seraph. Yeah, if they go for just hard cast the Seraph here, that means no removal in hand for sure. Because there's so many tricks that could make this go so poorly for them if this is their game plan. They're just not going to block. Alright, let's get some free spells, shall we? Alright, free Tramway Station, don't mind if I do. Now let's start getting rid of some cards in their hand here. Drop a Corrupt Court Official, I suppose, but still hold up Fake Your Own Death. Don't think Fake Your Own Death's actually that important. Because they definitely didn't have removal last turn. If they top deck a removal spell and kill Zayator's Envoy, that's honestly still not that big of a deal. If we have a Corrupt Court Official and an Entourage on board, we can still outrace them. Especially because we get to cast a Dusk Mangler next turn. Sacrifice the Corrupt Court Official and do some nasty things. Yeah, I'm just gonna... If they got removal, you got it. Goodbye, Zayator's Envoy. I still have plenty other ways to close out this game between Dusk Mangler and Girdergoons here. Rooftop Nuisance. They're going to keep it tapped down for a turn. And then a backup agent to make the flyer bigger. They're getting aggressive. They are getting aggressive. Nightclubber is going to be very happy to see that. We definitely want a Nightclubber before we Dusk Mangler so we can force the Seraph to get sacrificed. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 mana. 3 mana for that. 5 mana otherwise. We can play Clubber and Girdergoons. If I Blitz Clubber and Blitz Goons, is that lethal because of Entourage's ability? Potentially? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. That's not lethal. It is a lot of damage, though. I don't think I'm doing that, though. I'm just going to hard cast. I'm doing it pre-combat for 1 extra point of damage. Up them down to 8. So now we're at 13. They're at 8. We've got a wide large board state here. They have 1/5/5 flyer. Obviously going to be pretty bad if they get that Revelation of Power kind of combat trick that gives +2/+2 and lifelink, because then they hit us for 7 and gain 7. Outside of that, it would have to be like multiple cards this turn for it to go really bad for us. Or just like one really big bomb that I'm not thinking of. But in terms of like commons and uncommons that could be bad for us, have to be like a combination of cards or the +2/+2 lifelink trick. And even if they had the +2/+2 lifelink trick, we'd still have lethal next turn. Because of Dusk Mangler. Another Shattered Seraph. That's kind of a bomb. It's a good combination of cards there. Rooftop Nuisance to lock down Envoy and the... Dang. The Undercover Operative to get another flyer here. We definitely have to make them sacrifice one of their creatures, or else we'll die in the sky next turn, so we have to Dusk Mangler here. They sacrifice the 5/5 flyer. Any way to somehow find lethal? Riveteer's Charm makes them sacrifice one of these two just the same, and then I still have the mana up for Fake Your Own Death, I guess? That's not going to find lethal out of nowhere or anything. No, it's just Dusk Mangler is the play. Sacrificing the Corrupt Court Official. Because that's not going to attack in well anyway. Against these cards. We trample up the Entourage. Oh, we can't put it on itself. That's kind of rough. I was going to say we trample up the Entourage so that the Girder Goons is the only one that would trade off anyway. Alright, discard a card, lose 4 life. We attack both, we lose the Entourage and hit them down to 2 life here. They have to kill us next turn or they're mega dead. They've got 1 card in hand to try to kill us on the crackback. Feels pretty good. And if they do find a way to survive this next turn, we do still have Glamorous Outlaw that can drain them for 2 life, so it'll take them 3 attacks to kill us instead of just 2. That'll give us 1 more shot to find it out. Oh wait, it does 2 to your opponent. That is not how I remembered it. It's just 2 to your opponent you scry 2. For some reason I thought it was gain 2. Okay, yeah, Glamorous Outlaw just kills them. Glamorous Outlaw just kills them if they find a way to survive. Right, because I've got 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 mana, 2 to filter, and then 6 to cast. Yep. Attack everybody. If somehow they survive this, then we just cast a Glamorous Outlaw. Now that they're tapped out, they can't have a counterspell. Sure, they go to 1 here. I guess I could Fake Your Own Death for lethal instead. But they have no creatures on board. Glamorous Outlaw is huge. Alright, that will be 2-0 now for this Riveteers deck. Here we are now in game 3, another excellent hand mana-wise. Definite keeper here. We've also got the Zaitor's Envoy on turn 4, if we can draw a land in the meantime. Raffine's Silencer can connive to help us out with that. Opponent is on the play here, we'll see what they're up to. Start with a Riveteers Overlook, could be the mirror match. But they could be using that just for red-green or red-black. We're going to pull out a mountain. Drop our tramway station and pass the turn. We've got both of our murders at the ready this game, which is nice. Another Riveteers Overlook from our opponents. And there's a Riveteers Overlook for us. Let's join that party, shall we? Just grab another black source. Can always use a lot of those, so we can cast a murder and a silencer or something like that on a later turn. Witty Roastmaster will get things started for our opponent. Let's start things off with a Raffine's Silencer here, since Night Clubber doesn't do much on the board. Corrupt Court Official. That's not going to line up into our curve particularly well here, because I'm going to want to slam down Envoy in the future. I'd like to keep all our murders and our goons. And I think this will be probably worse than Night Clubber, but I guess if Night Clubber doesn't manage to kill anything, then Corrupt Court Official could end up being better than the Clubber. Definitely not going to trade until they have another card on board to try to get a 2-for-1 out of. And there we go. Now if we block a single Witty Roastmaster, we kill both of them. And here's our Zyator's Envoy. Holding the Silencer back, because if our opponent just goes Swamp Murder, I want to still be able to do the double block on the Roastmasters. Reading the Envoy, probably looking to kill it here. Raffine's Silencer is the play. It's gonna connive. The Roastmasters are shredding us. We do need to get rid of some of those at some point. We're going to be taking a lot of damage. So what now? If I attack with Envoy, they can block with Silencer and try to kill it with just that. But if they do that, I can murder in response. I think I attack with Envoy because the worst that can happen is I'm going to kill 2 of their cards here, even if I lose the Envoy. If they single block, then I really get them. Kill Silencer. Envoy's now just a 3-2, but if I hit a 3-mana or less card, I can play it for free. If I don't, I still draw a card here, and either way, Envoy's still on board. They could kill our Silencer, and then we kill their Roastmaster. We're going to trample over for 5 then, if they do that, though. Oh, no, it made it a 0-0, so we don't get to kill anything. Never mind, it's actually pretty good. Oh, dig up the body for free, though? Sure. Sure. We'll get our Silencer right back. Unfortunately, we actually are under a lot of life total pressure now, since they get to kill our Silencer without us being able to kill one of their cards. Still at 16 though. Got quite a lot of blockers to play in the future. It's just double Roastmaster's a little scary. 2 damage to us every time they play a creature. The Riveteer's Decoy. That's going to be perfect bait for our Night Clubber. And then a Professional Facebreaker. Oh god, okay, this is horrible. This is really, really bad. Now they get a treasure token every time they hit us, and they can sacrifice it to play the top card of their library. They do have to still pay the mana cost of the top card, but they get to play it as well. I think I have to play Night Clubber here. I think I'm just dying to these Roastmasters. Double Roastmasters just too much. I feel like I have to play Night Clubber so that I can get an Envoy attack in. That way I get a 2-2 and I get whatever I draw for free. But then it's going to be really hard to play Murder. I guess if I hit a land, I could. If I hit a Black Source, I could Night Clubber and Murder in the same turn. Kill their Professional Facebreaker. Kill one of the Roastmasters too is a huge deal. It's looking pretty bad. I guess I'm gonna Night Clubber. I could Blitz Night Clubber that way if I hit any untapped land. I could play Murder, but as you saw from our deck, we have very few mountains and forests left. So if it's an untapped land, it's gonna be a swamp. And we can do the Murder. It is a tapped land. That is unfortunate. I think we're just dead then. They just need to play 2 creatures for us to die to the Roastmaster triggers. Yeah, we're dead. That creature alone kills us, shuts off a blocker. And get some boatload of extra damage. Alright, you already had it. 2-1 it is. Good beats. Double Roastmaster is a lot. Here we are in round 4 on the play this time. Nice turn 2 Corrupt Court Official, fake your own death to try to get sick nasty with it. Even have a cat on turn 3. Everybody loves the chrome cats. The fillerest of filler. In it to win it. Ooh, we Corrupt Court Official, their Corrupt Court Official. Oh, they're gonna Corrupt Court Official our Corrupt Court Official. No, they're gonna get our mountain. Actually our tramway station. So I can cat this turn. Corrupt Court Official train never stops. Well, now that I have another, I'll just trade this into that. Stop them from casualtying it. They don't want to take that trade, which means we're about to get destroyed by some kind of casualty card. I will take that forest and drop an Elegant Entourage, turn 4. That's very suspicious. That's a make disappear. Probably. Probably. It's a fake your own death of their own. That's hilarious. Get our court official, sure. This is just gonna be a game of court official and court officials. Just all game long. And here's the entourage. Is it fake your own death and make... Wow, we lost. That's game over, Jesus. We have a court official and fake your own death in hand. Whatever they play here is just gonna have free reign. Yep. What we can do about that? Those are just the correct, very efficient pieces of interaction for that game. And it's over, pretty much. Gonna stay in it here, but we're just pretty much gone. What on earth are they doing here? They're gonna tap our court of... I guess they just really want to draw some cards. Draw 2. You got it. That's interesting. They have a second make disappear. Can't really afford to play around it. Yeah, if I'm trying to play around make disappear, I'm just gonna always pass turn because they're not gonna not hold it up. Got 5 mana now. Alright, no second make disappear. Probably do have removal for Envoy though. They haven't really had to use removal because their interaction just lined up so perfectly. Regulator it is. All of the tempo lockdown plays. Plasma Jockey. Sure, I'll probably just hardcast that post-combat. I was gonna say they're never gonna block here because they're running make your own death, or fake your own death. So they're gonna be playing around a bit because they have it in their own deck. They're gonna be thinking about it in all opportunities like that. Down to 5. Grizzly Sigil on Envoy? Good lord. Taking 5 in the sky next turn, that's game. Not a ton to say about that game, that was just... That's a pretty high quality deck from our opponent. Like, it was definitely a really good deck from our opponent, but the crazy thing is that we didn't actually lose to, like, the very, very good cards like Echo Inspector and Girder Goons. We just lose to the interaction being at the perfect times. Perfectly timed fake your own death, make disappear turn really destroyed us. That one turn was absolutely pivotal there. Put us miles behind. Alright, we'll keep here. Drop our Cabaret Courtyard, pull out a mountain. Get our turn 2 Body Dropper. Playing against a blue-black deck. Send in for 2 and see what they've got. Nothing. We'll drop a tramway station and pass. Revel Ruiner. Fatal Grudge on that doesn't seem horrible, but I'm pretty tempted to just drop our Envoy. Corrupt Court Official actually makes me want to kind of change my mind. That'll turn Body Drop into a 3/3 to hit them pretty hard, kill the Revel Ruiner, let us draw a card. That'll be a big enough threat that it could convince them to drop some removal on Body Dropper, which means less removal available to kill the Zyator's Envoy. Yeah, Corrupt Court Official was a pretty great draw here. Lets us have a really great way to use all of our mana without just dropping Envoy. I guess I could have still played Elegant Entourage there. Would have still been pretty threatening. But I like that a lot. And it is going to draw removal from our opponent. Asleep with the Fishes. It's going to be. Now I could Elegant Entourage, or I could just play the Envoy and see what happens. Oh, if I play a tapped land, I have to play none of those cards. Oops. Alright, we're holding up Murder then. I had to play Forest that turn. I forgot I didn't play Forest last turn because I needed to have 2 black sources and 2 red sources last turn. A big brain fart here. Opponent plays nothing, so that means probably a mountain of removal and counter spells here anyway. But yeah, it definitely would have been better to go Forest Entourage and at least pull one of those cards out of their hand here. But yeah, they discarded a creature. They discarded Crooked Custodian. They didn't discard a land here, so we know they're not just flooding out. So more than likely a bunch of counter spells and removal spells. So we want to pull those out here one at a time, play our weakest card each turn. So we'll go Entourage into Outlaw into Envoy. Because I don't really want to cast Outlaw and have it countered here. I'd like to get the Scry out of it. Maybe it's like 6-7 mana cards. Maybe it's like the big Angel, the 4/4 flyer that gains them true life. I have to imagine it's removal. It's counter spells, it's removal, it's something like that. Some form of interaction. They're heavily eyeballing the Elegant Entourage and their fish token, so who knows what's up here. Something to affect the board state, though. Another Sleep with the Fishes. Well, this is why it's really nice to play the 4 mana card first, because we can sack it in response and they will not get another fish. So that is super, super gravy. Okay, now they have a black and a white up. They don't have a blue up for a counterspell, so we know we get the Glamorous Outlaw Scry at least. And then it will pull out a removal spell from them again, if that's their plan. Grisly Sigil's a pretty great draw, because we can just use that and trade for the fish immediately. Don't even have to sacrifice something to do it, but if they have a bigger creature, we can sacrifice the Body Dropper to kill a 4 toughness or less creature with our Grisly Sigil. Alright, hit us with the fish. We'll start hitting them for 4 a turn with this Outlaw. They did not blow up the Outlaw there, and they had 4 mana up to do it. They didn't have the mana for a counterspell there, though. If they have one here, it's going to be Make Disappear. Which means we force them to at least like sacrifice the fish here to counter Envoy if I go for it this turn. They're at 9 life. I don't think Envoy is necessary to kill them. Jockey does that pretty well, too. I'll go for Jockey. That's 7 damage on the board. They can't really block at all. I'm at 18. I don't need to Sigil just yet. We'll keep that for a rainy day. We're at 18 life. Sure, maybe it's a Wrath. If they're just doing this. But I guess Jockey shuts off the Custodian as a blocker anyway. So they don't really have blockers on defense. So might as well get their damage in. So this isn't necessarily like representing a Wrath or anything. Alright, pass turn it is. If I blitz in Envoy and they don't have any responses here, they're dead, but they have 6 mana, they haven't played a land in several turns. There's no way they don't have a response. So we're still playing it pretty safe here. Feels like we have the game on lock if we just play it safe. Deal gone bad, sure. I'm fine with them milling me, so I don't want to sack in response here. Rather keep my mana up. So we do have that one deck. Or that one card that brings things back from grave. Alright, make their Custodian 1 more power. Sure. They're at 5 here. Drop Silencer. Mayhem Patrol can also help find lethal. Sure. So I'm just going to pass turn and hold up a murder, and we're just going to blitz in Mayhem Patrol and Envoy, maybe? Or Mayhem Patrol or Envoy. So now we just start clearing some stuff out, get our big final blitz attack in for lethal. Silencer is a 2/2. That is unfortunate. They only have 1 card in their hand now. They're not going to attack. Let's murder their biggest blocker, the Custodian. Riveteer's Charm is the draw. Alright, let's just see. It's the final card a counterspell? It is not. That means probable lethal. If we Grizzly Sigil, that means almost definitely lethal. We might as well sack the Body Dropper. Just to gain 1 more life here. And make it so Silencer basically has 1 toughness if it's trying to block any trample. Now they need multiple removal spells. I guess they don't. They could kill Envoy and then chump there and take 1, but wouldn't be a winning position for them. But it looks like they don't have a good enough answer there, and it's now going to be 3 and 2 for the Riveteers deck, getting at least 50-50 run out of this draft. Alright, here we are now in game 6. This is pretty low mana hand, pretty aggressive looking hand, but we've got green and red. We have double patrol we know we can cast. I can use this outlaw to get my black source if I don't draw into it. Gonna keep this and see how it goes. Immediately draw the swamp, so we've got 3 out of 4 mana for the Envoy. It's pretty spicy. Goldhound, turn 2 from our opponent. They're on Riveteers as well. Racer's Ring into Riveteers Overlook. Start dropping our Mayhem Patrols. Fleetfoot Dancer. Turn 3 thanks to Goldhound. That's a way to start a game. We need to draw a murder or the game has been solved. It's our opponent's game in the bag. Yeah, not much else to say. That's all there really is to it. We need to draw a murder or we lose. Probably should have blitzed that Mayhem Patrol actually, just to cycle it into another card to try to hit murder. Like I can play an entourage here, so I can block their 4/4 with a 4/4. But if they have any tricks, they're definitely going to win, and I feel like that's pretty likely. They have at least one trick. Even if the trade does resolve, our opponent's going to be at like 33 at the start of this game now. If they have any removal, they just clear out the entourage and we're not blocking. Really does have to just be murder. That's the only like surefire way we can get back into this game. Sigil, I completely forgot about, and absolutely works too, and actually works even better than murder. Question is, would I rather sacrifice a blitzed plasma jockey so that I can keep both my patrols, or just sack a patrol here? I think I want to sack a blitzed jockey. Kill the dancer and hit for a lot of damage this turn to try to undo all that life gain they just did. So there we go. Drew one of our removal spells, undid all the life gain, they're back to 20, and we're going to gain all the life back now. And we've got a game. Now things are looking still in our opponent's favor, for sure. We did have to spend a good amount of cards to do that, but not massively so. Like, they get to play a Rakish Revelers here, which is pretty big, a 5/3 and a 1/1. But our Mayhem Patrols can block the 1/1. And we could just play a 4/4 to trade into the 5/3. We could even just play a Chrome Cat, a 3/2 to trade into the 5/3 here, and then we get to scry as well. Yeah, no, we're definitely still in it now. I think I am going to Chrome Cat here. Use 6 mana for our Glamorous Outlaw. I'm actually okay with that. If we flood out, we have double Tramway Station and many more in the deck. We don't flood out. Now our plan next turn is we play a 4-drop and we get to use the Outlaw on a land. That'll be our plan for our 6 mana. Wrecking Crew is the play now, a 4/5. Actually kind of problematic. It's going to be a lot harder to block. Well, can't just play a 4/4 and block it. I could play Zayator's Envoy and offer to trade into it, but I don't want to take that trade, really. But it isn't looking like a game where Envoy's going to get in there in the future. And that being said, I think I'm still on Entourage, Exile, Glamorous Outlaw here. We can still double block Wrecking Crew with a 4/4 and a 1/2. Get hit hard by a combat trick there, but I think we should still do it. Opponent's on red, green, white, and black, and Paragon of Modernity is a big deal here because the game's gotten stalled out. Murder's perfect. We can kill the Paragon. Don't have to kill it immediately. They're going to hit us for a maximum of 4 next turn, so I'm just going to get my Scry. Make sure I've got all the blockers in the world on the ground. Silencer and Goons, both of which I like. Silencer, maybe a little less much. Maybe a little less so on this board state. Actually, Goons isn't the greatest against a 4/5 either, but Elegant Entourage can help with that. Yeah, I can blitz out the Goons and give it +1/+1, make it a 5/5 trample attacker immediately. I think I keep Goons, but Silencer can get out of here. Alright, we have all the blockers on the ground. We just need to murder the Paragon in the sky. And then we're chilling. My opponent and I are just going to hang out. Sit here and talk about our feelings. Requisitioner to draw a card and get a treasure. Fair enough. Send in the bandits as well, alright. There's gotta be tricks. I can't think of a trick that buffs the entire field at instant speed, so I'm just going to make the blocks that are best if they just have like one trick to use in one of these combats. Oh my god. I forgot about that card's existence, and I guess I just lose because I did. Really forgot about that effect. It's been too long. +1/+1 trampled to the whole board. That'll do it. Could have played around that if I remembered it, but I am not familiar enough with Capenna. We're pretty much just dead now, I think, but not quite. We're still double blocking here. We're trading things out, trying to get back in the game. And then Envoy would be a big swing in our favor if our opponent starts missing some draws here. That's not a miss. That's another Menace card now. And they draw a card when that dies. Actually a pretty great draw. Still no attacks though. Duskmangler only kills their 1/1. I'm not a fan of that. Not a fan of that, but it's not like Duskmangler's going to get any better later. It's going to make them discard the only card in their hand. I kind of have to pay life here and go to... Oh my god. I don't want to sacrifice Mayhem Patrol, but I really don't want to pay life, and I especially don't want to discard a card. This is my best opportunity. They have one card in hand. They didn't play a land this turn. I guess I sack Mayhem Patrol? This is brutal. See if it was worth it here. Maybe they're just holding a land in hand. Paragon of Modernity. It was worth it. Just a land off the top. Send in the Menace cards. Here we go. One of these is going to hit us. Don't send in the Menace cards. Fine by me. Envoy, we won't have the mana up to sack a station, but we'll have an Envoy on board, so... Envoy it is. Board states are pretty even here. They have to spend this treasure on nothing now if they don't want to take extra damage each turn. Corrupt Court Official, not a great one here, but it's another blocker, so I'll still play it if I don't draw another card. Let's see what we get. Fatal Grudge. Ooh, that makes Corrupt Court Official way better. Do I want to drop it right now or just wait till next turn so I can play it and Grudge in the same turn? I think I'd rather play it alongside the Grudge, just in case our opponent draws something they don't immediately want to play. It seems pretty unlikely, but we'll see. Alright, they are going to sack that treasure now. Draw for turn. And it's a land, okay. So, no discard from Corrupt Court Official, but we'll still trade it up into their 2/2 and draw a card. Oh, dig up the body? How good is that here? I think we're waiting on that till these cards die. I'm a little worried about milling myself too much with that card, but we're going to wait till these cards die to dig up the body. Like when Envoy dies or something. It could be pretty big. Trade this Corrupt Court Official up into the Black Market Tycoon. No, they're going to block, or they're going to sack the 5/3 Menace to draw a card instead. Now that they only have one Menace creature, I'm actually kind of confident attacking with Envoy here, again, because we can just dig up its body. And if it hits them, obviously we're going to play something for free, so we're going to trade into a creature and then dig up the body later. And And that may have been the turn we needed to break through the board state here and put it in our favor. Now they have a 4-5 and a 2-2. We have a 4-5, a 5-4, and a 4-4. And I'm just going to pick up Zayator's Envoy. Opponent's got a few cards in hand here. They are cards they just now picked up, so they have to tap the Tycoon here. So we're going to hit hard next turn. Riveteer's Charm. Sacrifice one of our highest mana value cards. That's just Duskmangler. I could sack Duskmangler here to this and then dig up the body, sack Goons. And then I'm going to have a Duskmangler in hand to cast, which is huge. Getting a little low on library, but yeah. Have a Duskmangler and Zayator's Envoy in hand is actually insane here. Completely insane hand. And we drew Corrupt Court Official. 3, 4, 5, 6 mana after it. I can't play Official and Duskmangler, and Duskmangler still makes them discard the card in hand, so I just play Duskmangler and discard the Official. We've still got the Envoy, and we kill the Black Market Tycoon as well. Whoa, keep the Tycoon. Interesting. Maybe they have the 5-color card in their deck. They want to play the 5-color Mythic. It's the only thing I could think of that they need the Tycoon for is if they need blue mana for a potential draw. I think that's it. Block, take 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We can put them to 1 life if I blitz an Envoy and we cast something for free off the top, and that's if they chump both. Great stuff there. Pretty big, I don't know if I'd say comeback. We were definitely on the back foot there. Yeah, pretty big comeback there. Long game. 4-2 it is. Pretty much breaking even no matter what happens now. 6 stuff from the Riveteers deck. Alright, here we are in round 7. 4-2 so far. Pretty good opening hand. No green source, but that's our splash color, so that's fine. Looking for any land here to get to the Rafine Silencer on 3. But other than that, pretty good start to the game. We've got a murder for some interaction later. Fake your own death on this Corrupt Court Official is always fun. Sigil is the draw. Sigilling the Socialite just straight up doesn't seem that bad, but I think I'd rather just hold up for a Fake Your Own Death here. If they play a creature and make the Socialite a 3-2, they're almost definitely just going to attack into this Official. Then we can get the Fake Your Own Death value. Especially the treasure token is nice. Oh yeah. Actually, Grizzly Sigil value seems pretty big here too. Makes me tempted to maybe just Glamorous Outlaw and then Grizzly Sigil next turn and kill both these off that. Still have a Fake Your Own Death for later. But the treasure token on the Fake Your Own Death is very tempting, and the discard's not bad either. So I'm still going to do Fake Your Own Death. It's much less the value of killing a Tended Socialite, much more the value of getting the treasure token specifically, with the little upside of making them discard a card. And that was a good one, make them discard a Psychic Pickpocket, wow. Now we have a Fatal Grudge as the draw. We do have a 3rd mana, but it's on a treasure token I'd rather not spend right off the bats. I'll just attack in, we can't block that Skycrier. I do still want to hold on to Grizzly Sigil on the off chance we get to sack the Corrupt Court Official to kill 2 of their creatures in the future. Uh-oh. That's bad. That's not horrible. That's not horrible. Fatal Grudge is really good next turn now, because the Strong Arm's going to sack itself. We're just going to take 5 here, let them gain some life, and then Fatal Grudge, get rid of their Skycrier, and we draw a card. Yeah, that's not the end of the world. Okay, let's get our Outlaw here on the mountain. Actually might have been better on the swamp because we have more swamps than mountains in the deck. So we could end up having the 6 mana for Outlaw, but not 2 red sources. Yeah, that was wrong of me. Generally, I like putting it on... I don't know. I was gonna say, I'd like putting it on the mountain there so we could have double black for murder guaranteed, but I wasn't thinking about the quantity of mountains versus swamps in our deck, so I think it would have been better the other way. But yeah, I was thinking about murder mainly. Yeah, we're on Fatal Grudge. Get rid of the Skycrier. Draw a card. Alright, Body Dropper's the draw. Pretty good one. They're just over it. They're just not cool with that interaction whatsoever, and that's going to be 5 and 2, I guess. Heading into round 8 now. Alright, here we are in round 8 on the play. Got the Envoy, got all the colors. Let's go for it. Perfect murder mana here as well. Slower hand. We could get aggroed out of the game, but that's my biggest fear here. Other than that, we have powerful late game. Riveteer's Decoy. Alright, our Blitz card is going to be really good if we ever draw it. The -1/-1 to the opposing crew. Nightclubber. I don't need more lands. Get out of here, Courtyard. They're going to hold our Chrome Cat for ransom so they can keep getting this 3 Riveteer's Decoy damage, and I'm actually fine with that, because again, that'll be 1 less removal spell for Zyator's Envoy, plus... now Nightclubber's still a super sick draw. Don't really want to Envoy here, because it doesn't just die to remove it, it also dies to a combat trick, since it'll be forced to block, so I kind of want to wait until we can get rid of this Decoy. I think I'm gonna Blitz a Girder Goons here. Hit them for 4, draw a card, and get a 2/2 to trade into that Decoy. 2/2 comes in tapped, but it'll trade into it in the future. Duskmangler's the draw. Very good when you have a pacified creature on board like a Chrome Cat here. Gilded Pinions. That's pretty big. You can send the Decoy into the sky so they don't have to worry about us blocking it with anything. Alright, Dig Up the Body's not a horrible draw either. I like Silencer here because now we can dig up the body, sack the Silencer in the future to get rid of that Decoy. Still don't like running into removal yet. Pick up a Glamorous Outlaw. That's a bit expensive, bit much. I think I'm gonna get rid of that. Send in the 2/2 on the ground. So we're taking 3 a turn, we're dealing 4 a turn right now. But we're at a lower life total. Okay, there we go, Wrecking Crew, that's our murder target. So if we hit a land, we can murder and dig up the body. Did not hit a land. And Wrecking Crew has Trample, and they can give it flying, so we're going to have to murder this Wrecking Crew. So let's Corrupt Court Official and murder the Wrecking Crew, I think. Could have the 1-mana shield counter card, that would be absolutely horrific for us. I'm going to hope they don't. Alright, they don't have that. Now let's Corrupt Court Official, get rid of one of their cards in hand. Still have the 1/1 to chump block a Blitz card. Ooh, got rid of a removal spell, got rid of a prize fight. Now we're racing with 5 damage on board, they have 3 damage on board, and they're just going to hold off on blocks. Pretty happy with that. And another Corrupt Court Official. Also quite happy with that. Don't really want to trade Silencer into a single Decoy, but I'll send the other 2 in. No blocks. Here comes Corrupt Court Official to do some nasty things. And we have Dig Up the Body at instant speed. We can get that -2/-2 wherever we need it if something scary happens. And pick up a Girder Goons and an Outlaw. It's just an instant speed way to sacrifice our Silencer. Makes me feel pretty comfortable. We can always Blitz in this Envoy for a lethal haste attack later. Discard a Vivian! Oh my god, Corrupt Court Official. Today's draft is just me hanging out with my homies, the Corrupt Court Officials. Absolutely evil card. Absolutely evil card. Kind of like the cheap blitz. It's kind of weird, but I'm going to pick up Mayhem Patrol here. They're pretty low on life. We are too, but cheap blitz seems good. Cleanup crew is a big issue. Fake your own death is fine here. Yeah, cleanup crew is a big issue. What we need to do is we need to get enough power on the board that they're scared to just equip and attack us. So we basically have to play the Envoy here. That makes it so they don't really have that opportunity to choose to equip and attack us here. Because then they know we're hitting for 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 and getting a free card off the top of our library. Unless they draw very well here, which maybe they have. Alright, give it flying and pass. They didn't draw that well. Now we still have Fake Your Own Death for the Envoy, so I like attack all here. They're just going to block Envoy. None of these things are going to block anyway. Fake that Envoy's death. Quick Draw Dagger, that's massive. Oh my god, we still get it back on board and get the treasure token, which means we're open to Duskmangler next turn, which is phenomenal. But, yeah, we're not trampling over for any damage, and we're not killing the cleanup crew. Alright, Duskmangler next turn should seal the deal if they can't kill us on board. The Fiend's Informant gives them a blocker. But yeah, I think Duskmangler's it. I think Duskmangler's game. Sack the Informant block there, take 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They take 4 from Duskmangler hitting the board. Duskmangler is such a win condition, it's absurd. Such a game ender. Phenomenal card. And there's the concession from our opponent. We are 6-2 now. Another victory off the back of Duskmangler. Alright, here we are in the final boss, win or lose, the final game of Magic for the day. We don't have a play till turn 3, but then we have a Chrome Cat, and if we make it to the late game, we have our big game enders. Duskmangler, Entourage in the middle can scare some, well, can get some serious damage on the board. Can scare our opponent with good reason, with its Alliance trigger. So yeah, we've got the 3 colors of mana for the charm as well, for some interaction. We'll see how this game goes from here. Again, I'm so happy with the mana base in this deck, it's insane. I don't think we've ever had a mana problem that wasn't self-imposed by me just playing the wrong land on that turn. Blue-white deck here, that's scary. They can have a lot of flyers, be a really ridiculous tempo deck. That can be quite aggressive and just get out under you. Just curve out real quick. Scry here, Mayhem Patrol. Not actually the big fan of that, because we've got Entourage on 4, Charm on 5. I guess Charm on 5 we could hold up Patrol if we get another red source. Don't have one. Yeah, this doesn't feel like a Mayhem Patrol game here. I'm not really trying to shred in right now. I'm trying to find things to help us last till the late game, and Mayhem Patrol is not a good blocker. Alright, they're gonna get that Sky Crier damaging. Let's drop an Elegant Entourage. You could have a Make Disappear here. Happens, it happens. Didn't do it pre-combat, so I know if it's safe to attack with Cat or not, and it is. Can attack with Cat and still have the Entourage on blocks. Skycryer's coming in again. We're going to be down to 18. They're back up to 20. No plays here, just holding up a bunch of counters maybe. Just send all this onboard damage Hypnotic Grifter goes to 2/3 status and trades for cat. That's fine by me. Don't see a reason to pre-combat the jockey just to buff up the Chrome Cat. If it trades into Grifter, I'm happy with the trade. Knockout blow on Elegant Entourage. Sad day. Sad day. Nothing we can do about that. Oops. So here's a Plasma Jockey. Pass the turn. So make sure if they don't drop another creature this turn, we're going to be hitting for 6 each turn on the ground. Just can't block at all. Adjudicators. Well, that's another creature this turn. It's a very big one. Shuts off Jockey's ability to attack or block this turn. We can Riveteer's Charm and kill the Adjudicators here, which probably have to do, unfortunately. Yeah, we'll do it now so they can't have any kind of counter or anything weird. Rid of the Adjudicators so we can get in 3 damage as well. And then pass turn. Elegant's Entourage of their own. And Broker's Initiate, giving them the Entourage buff to the Skycrier this turn. Send in the Skycrier for 2. Nightclubber. Ooh. Ooh, ooh, ooh. That's attractive. Not sure how impactful a 2/2 is going to be on the board state. Broker's Initiate's actually a really big problem. That's going to be a 5/5. I guess a 2/2 so we can block with a 3 power and a 2 power creature is pretty good. So let's leave it on board here. I'm not going to play Dusk Mangler until a little later. Play that next turn after we get rid of the Skycrier. Just want to stop all this flying lifelink immediately. Could have went for this post-combat. If I wanted to get really bold here, then yeah, I could have went for like an attack with Chrome Cat and then Nightclubber post-combat in case they block with Broker's Initiate or Elegant Entourage. Actually, probably would have been better. I don't think we're supposed to send in with both, but sending in with like just a Chrome Cat here would have been better. Would have given them the opportunity to block with the Broker's Initiate. I don't think they would have blocked with Entourage. If they did, that would have been good for us too. Yeah, I definitely should have Nightclubbered post-combat, tried to maybe sneak in another kill there. A kill on the Entourage or a kill on the Initiate. They blocked with Initiate would actually be really good for us because we keep the cat and kill the Initiate. But they blocked with Entourage would be solid because then the Chrome Cat would trade up. Problem though is, I guess it's not that big of a problem because having 2 3-power creatures and a 2-power creature up to block isn't that much better than the 1 3-power creature and a 2-power creature up to block. I feel like my opponent, they're being very methodical. They're thinking out their turns a lot. They have allied with the Hourglass. They are Mythic 203. I do not think my opponent at 19 life there would choose not to just take that damage. The only block that might be reasonable is maybe they would have blocked with Broker's Initiate. But it's just as likely we didn't miss any value there because they just wouldn't have blocked. Okay, so now trade off into the Grifter. Fine. Double block Entourage and lose both into it. I'd rather lose 1 creature. We'll go there. 1 creature for 1 creature. Down to 10 life. They have a 1-mana trick. They have 4 of the family, +4/+4. That just kills us. Oh, Libation. Libation with Entourage on board. What? That's a well-timed Libation. That is a horribly timed corrupt court official. Oh. Yeah, now we're just kind of out of it. I guess we discard the court official, but the libation was so perfectly timed. They get a 1/1 to sack to the mangler now. That's horrific. I don't think it could have gotten much worse than that for us last turn. The perfect card. That's actually worse for us than For the Family would have been. Because For the Family would have won the combat and then not given them a 1/1. This wins the combat and gives them a 1/1? Like, Jesus. It probably seals it. Probably 6-3 here. And there's Echo Inspector, buffing with Entourage. So the Entourage has buffed the Adjudicators, and that's going to send in. Entourage itself is coming in as well. And that basically seals the deal here, because we don't have any blocks that aren't going to lose two of our creatures or our biggest creature. So we could lose our whole board state to kill both of these, but then we're still dealing with a 3/4 flyer, a potential 5/5, a 1/2. I guess I could just do that. Basically have to just draw gas immediately. Alright, final draw, let's go. Girder-goons. We die to a single creature because they buff Echo Inspector. Alright. 0 creatures, please, opponent. If we double blocked Entourage there, I'd be at 8. Oh my god, that's 2 creatures. If I double blocked Entourage there, I'd be at 8 with a single Girder-goons, and then this turn they would hit us for 3 in the sky and attack us with a 5/5 initiate that I'd have to block because they're threatening 8 damage, so I'd block there, get a 2/2. Yeah, when we lose either way, we block. I just don't lose that exact turn, since they did top deck into a creature immediately. So I don't know which block was better. Don't think I played that game perfectly. The biggest play that could have gone better was we could have maybe killed Broker's Initiate with the Nightclubber, but we didn't get attacked by the Broker's Initiate a single time this game, nor did it block a single time, so it wouldn't have impacted things all that greatly. However, if I had the Broker's Initiate off the board there, and then on this later turn I did go for the Entourage double block, then the board state would now be, I'd have a single Girder-goons, I'd be at 8, I'd take 3 in the sky, I'd go down to 5. So I'd be at 5 life against a 3 power flyer, a 1/2 hypnotic grifter, a 3/2, a 10, and a 1/1. I'm still losing that game. So yeah, not the right lines, but not, I think, a winnable game in the grand scheme of things. Maybe if we got the hard read on the combat trick there on the Luxurious Libation, there was a better block we could make. It required some super tight plays. Either way, very happy with this deck's performance. Anytime I'm any strategy other than Brokers and I can get 4/3 or better, I'm pretty happy in this format. Brokers is just that deep of a color pair that it's that powerful that I would consider a great non-Brokers deck to be one that can get like 4 or 5 wins or better, rather than like a great Brokers deck is just a 7-win run. If you get a 6 or 5 win run with a Brokers deck, it's like, that was a good Brokers deck. But yeah, pretty nice run. We started pretty low, started like 2-2, turned it into a 6-2. Can't be that unhappy with that. We're also up in gyms for the day. It was a pretty fun deck. Sciator's Envoy was really cool. Whenever we got to use that, we got to do a lot of just nasty corrupt court official things, using these alongside Fatal Grudges and Fake Your Own Deaths and the casualty cards of Dig Up the Body and Grisly Sigils. So pretty nasty Corrupt Court Official deck. As for the biggest under and over performers, Mayhem Patrol wasn't very good in here. We're not that aggressive. We're trying to just outvalue our opponent by making them discard a bunch of stuff with Court Officials and making them sack stuff with the Fatal Grudge. So Mayhem Patrol's a bit weird in here. This could have picked up some cards that made more sense in the deck over those. Plasma Jockey's very similar. Basically, the red stuff just wasn't good. Maybe we should have been a weird, like, black-green black-green focus deck, but green didn't seem all that open. Definitely happy we ended up with black. Black was the best color in our deck, and our Riveteer's cards, our Riveteer splashes were good. Zayator's Envoy and Riveteer's Charm were both really good. I just think our selection of red cards, these just didn't work very well in this deck, so that's the biggest downside. Entourage was still big, it was still powerful. All of our black cards were great. Glamorous Outlaw was actually pretty great in here. Body Dropper was huge. That was actually incredible with all the Blitz cards and the casualty cards. The few times I did resolve this on the board early, it was somewhat of a threat. It was always like at least it'd be like a 3/3 and trade off into something, or it would get blown up because it'd be recognized as a threat. Or there was that one game that became like a 4/4 or 5/5 by the end. So Body Dropper was pretty great too. So yeah, Dig Up the Body actually performed a lot better than I thought it would. This is kind of like a random sort of later edition where I was like, yeah, it's like a little bit of card draw sort of, and it'll give us another card to casualty, but this card was so huge. Being able to cast a Dusk Mangler a second time was incredible. Every game we did that, I think we won. And then, yeah, being able to pick up Zayator's Envoy again, being able to pick up a Night Clubber again if your opponent had a bunch of 1 toughness stuff. Dig Up the Body was a huge overperformer. So yeah, I'd say Dig Up the Body, the biggest overperformer, and the biggest underperformers, the aggressive red Blitz cards. These would have been better as just more Corrupt Court Officials, 6 Corrupt Court Officials, let's go. No, more like mid-range value cards. If we were really lucky, like, I don't know, some Jewel Thieves or something. This was the kind of deck that our mana fixing ended up so good at the end of the draft, we could have had a heavier focus on green to get more of the solid, big, beefy cards like Elegant Entourages into the deck, rather than the more aggressive, smaller body size, better for early game cards. I think we wanted some more beefy little mid-range creatures that get in, attack and block really well at any point in the game, rather than the ones that just kind of attack well. So yeah, super solid deck overall. Those are my final thoughts on the draft, but great draft here. Get our 1,800 gems, our 5 packs, and run away with it. That is going to end today's video. As always, if you enjoyed this video and you'd like to see more, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. We've got some good stuff on the horizon. We've got Arena Cube drafts back this Friday, and they're bringing back Kaladesh remastered drafts and Amonkhet remastered drafts a couple weeks after Cube drafts begin. So we're going to be cycling through all of those spicy draft formats, so stay tuned with that. But other than that, as always, thank you very much for watching, and I will see you again soon for some more Magic Arena.